In the previous lecture, we have seen the progressive waves, the equation of progressive wave, speed of sound or speed of mechanical wave on longitudinal and transverse wave. Now let us see the factors affecting speed of sound wave. The first is effect of pressure on the speed of sound. The speed of sound in gases is given by V is equals to under root gamma P by rho. Here P is the pressure, rho is the density of gas, and gamma is the ratio of Cp by Cv. This is the equation given by Laplace. Now, P is pressure, then the ideal gas equation is given by P volume V is equals to nRT. But N can be written as total mass upon molecular mass into RT. And volume can be written as total mass upon density is equals to RT. So we can write P into M by D is equals to RT. So P by D is equals to RT by M. Here R is the universal gas constant, T is the temperature, and M is the molecular mass. From this equation, we can say that the ratio P by D or ratio P by rho remains constant if temperature is constant. If pressure increases, then volume will decrease, and if volume decreases, density will also increase. So if pressure increases, density also increases. In that case, this ratio will always remain constant. So we can conclude that the velocity is constant at constant temperature, and it is not affected by the change in pressure alone. Now, the second point, the effect of temperature. V is given by under root gamma P by rho, and P can be written as RT by M. So, gamma RT by M. From this, we can say that speed is directly proportional to root T. And we can take the ratio for numerical purpose. V1 by V2 is equals to under root T1 by T2. But remember here T is in Kelvin. The third point is the effect of molecular weight. V is given by under root gamma P by rho, that is equals to under root gamma RT by M. So from this we can write V is inversely proportional to root M. The fourth factor is the humidity. The speed of sound is under root gamma P by rho. So we can say V is inversely proportional to root of density. If density increases, then speed of sound will decrease. So let us see the effect of humidity on the density. There will be two different cases. In the gases, heavier than water vapors. For example, CO2 N2O2. These are the gases heavier than water vapors. The density of dry air is more than the density of moist air. So, in this case, the speed of sound is more than that of speed of sound in humid air is more than that of speed of sound in dry air. But in the case of gases lighter than water vapors, the density of dry air is less than density of moist air. So, speed of sound in dry air is more than the speed of sound in moist air. So it is not a generalized case. We have to see which type of gas we are talking about. If we talk in general for air, atmosphere, the speed of sound in moist air is greater than speed of sound in dry air. Now let us see some examples based on the formulas that we have seen so far. In this example, the wave function of pulse is given by y is equals to 5 divided by 4x plus 60 whole square, where x and y are in meter and t is in second. We want to find the wave velocity. Here, by comparing, we can write kx is equals to 4x, so k is equals to 4, and omega t is equals to 60, so omega is equals to 6. The wave velocity is given by omega by k, that is 6 by 4, 3 by 2, so wave velocity will be 1.5 meter per second. In this example, the equation of progressive wave is y is equals to a cos 240t minus x by 12. We want to find the phase difference between 2 points. They are situated 0.5 meter apart. That means delta x is given 0.5 meter. We want to find the phase difference delta phi. There is a unitary relation between the phase difference and the path difference. For the path difference of lambda, the phase difference is 2 pi. Then, for path difference of delta x, what will be the phase difference? So we can find delta phi is equals to delta x by lambda into 2 pi. For that, first of all, we have to find this wavelength lambda. So from this equation, we can write y is equals to a cos of 240t minus 240x by 12. Comparing this with the basic equation, we can write k is equals to 240 by 12, that is equals to 20. But k is equals to 2 pi by lambda. So lambda will be equal to 2 pi by 20. Put this value in this equation. Delta phi will be equal to delta x, that is 0.5, into 2 pi divided by lambda is 2 pi by 20. So delta phi will be equal to, this 2 pi will get cancelled out, 1 by 2 into 20. So delta phi will be equal to 10. As all the quantities are in SI unit, this phase difference will also be in SI unit, that is 10 radian. In the next example, a transverse wave propagating on the string is described by the equation y is equals to 2 sine of 10x plus 300t. Given lambda is equals to 0.6 into 10 power minus 3 gram per centimeter, we want to find the tension in the string. So in this question, this 0.6 into 10 power minus 3 gram per centimeter is the linear mass density mu. We can convert it into SI unit, that will be 0.6 into 10 power minus 6 kg divided by 10 power minus 2 meter. So 0.6 into 10 power minus 4 kg per meter. From the equation of wave, omega is 300 and k is 10. So wave velocity is omega by k, that is equals to 300 by 10, that is equal to 30 meter per second. Now the velocity of wave on a stretched string is given by under root t by mu. So 30 is equals to under root t divided by mu. Taking square on both the side, we can write 900 is equals to t divided by mu, that is 0.6 into 10 power minus 4. So the tension force will be 900 into 6 into 10 power minus 5. So tension force will be 54 into 10 power minus 3 Newton, or we can say it is 54 millinewton. In this example, the equation of progressive wave is given by y is equals to 1.5 sine of 328t minus 1.27x. We want to find the amplitude, frequency, time period, wavelength and speed of the wave. Let us compare it with the basic equation of a progressive wave. Y is equals to a sine of omega t minus kx. So from that we can write a is equals to 1.5 meter. This is the amplitude. Omega is equals to 328 and k is equals to 1.27. Omega can be written as 2 pi f, that is equals to 328. So f will be equal to 328 divided by 2 into 3.14. So frequency will be equal to approximately 52.23 Hertz. Omega can also be written as 2 pi by t is equals to 328. So t is equals to 2 pi divided by 328. So time period is approximately 0.019 second. K is 2 pi by lambda, that is equals to 1.27. So lambda will be 2 pi divided by 1.27, that is equals to 4.94 meter. We want to find the speed of sound wave. The speed v is omega by k, that is 328 divided by 1.27. So speed will be equal to 258.26 meter per second. In this example, a sinusoidal wave of frequency 200 Hz has speed of 400 meter per second. First, how far apart in the medium are 2 points that are differ in phase by pi by 3 radian? That means in this case we want to find the path difference. In the second case, by how much does the phase change at a certain point at times 1 upon 100 pi seconds apart. So in this case, we want to find delta phi. First of all, let us find the wavelength. V is given by f lambda. So lambda is V by f. Speed is 400 meter per second divided by frequency 200. So lambda is 2 meter. In the first case, the phase difference is given pi by 3 radian. We want to find the path difference. Again, we will use the unitary relation for the phase difference of 2 pi. The path difference is lambda. Then for the phase difference of pi by 3, what will be the path difference? So delta x will be pi by 3 into lambda divided by 2 pi. This pi will get cancelled out. So lambda by 6. Delta x will be equal to lambda is 2 by 6. That will be equal to 1 by 3 meter. In the second case, we want to find the phase difference, delta phi, given the time difference, delta t is equals to 1 upon 100 pi second. Given for time difference of one time period, the phase difference is 2 pi. Then what will be the phase difference for time 1 upon 100 pi? So the phase difference will be 1 upon 100 pi into 2 pi divided by time period. But 1 upon time period is frequency. So delta phi will be equal to, this pi will get cancelled out, 2 by 100 into 1 by t is frequency, and frequency is given 200 Hz. So delta phi will be equal to 4 radian. In this example, a uniform string of length L is suspended from a point on ceiling. A small wave pulse is now introduced at the lowest end, and it starts moving up towards the ceiling. What will be the speed of wave pulse when it has moved up to a distance x? And how much time does this wave pulse take to reach the ceiling? First of all, let us understand the scenario. A uniform string. The meaning of uniform string is it has uniform linear mass density. It is suspended from a point from a ceiling. Now a pulse is given at the lowest end, and the pulse is now traveling. Let's say at any instant the pulse is at distance x from bottom, given whole length capital L. Let's say at this point it is traveling with speed v. We want to find the speed v from the distance x from lowest point and time taken by pulse to reach to the ceiling. Let us assume that mass per unit length is mu, that is linear mass density. Now, let us consider a section of length x measured from the lower end. The mass of this section will be equal to mu x. So, if we draw the free body diagram about point P, then in the downward direction that will be weight. Weight is mass into g. Mass will be mu into x. This is linear mass density into length into g. And in the upward direction there will be a tension force. At any point these two forces are balanced, so we can write T is equals to mu x g. Now, the wave velocity in the stretched string is given by under root T by mu. Here in this case T is mu x g divided by mu. So, speed will be under root xg. Now, as we move from bottom to the ceiling, the x will change from 0 to L. V can be written as dx by dt, that is equals to root x g. So we can write dx by root x is equals to root g dt. Integrating both this side, the limit of x will be 0 to L and time from 0 to t. We want to find the time. Integration of 1 upon root x will be equal to 2 root x, limits from 0 to L, is equals to root g is constant into t. So 2 root L is equals to root g into t. So the time taken will be 2 under root L by g. This will be the time taken by pulse to reach from lowest point to the ceiling. Let us see the next example. In this example, a wave pulse starts propagating in the positive x direction along a non-uniform wire of length L with mass per unit length, that is linear mass density m is equals to m naught alpha x, given m naught and alpha are constants, and under the tension 100 Newton. We want to find the time taken by pulse to travel from lighter end, that is x is equals to 0, to the heavier end, that is x is equals to L. The velocity in stretched string is given by T by mu. Here the situation is somewhat like this. At x is equals to 0 to x is equals to L. Let's say this distance is x. We are considering a small mass element dm of length dx. Here, the speed of wave depends on the linear mass density. As the linear mass density is not constant, the speed will not be constant. V can be written as tension force, that is given 100 divided by linear mass density. It is given by m naught plus alpha x. V can be written as dx by dt. So we can write dx by dt is equals to 10 divided by under root mu naught plus alpha x. So dx under root mu naught alpha x is equals to 10 dt. Integrating both the side, we can write integration dx from 0 to L. Mu naught plus alpha x whole power 1 by 2 is equals to 10 integration dt from 0 to t. The integration of mu naught plus alpha x power 1 by 2 will be mu naught plus alpha x power 1 by 2 plus 1, that is 3 by 2, divided by alpha 3 by 2, that is equals to 10t. Limits will be from 0 to L. So 2 by 3 alpha into mu naught plus L alpha whole power 3 by 2 minus mu naught power 3 by 2 is equals to 10t. So the time taken will be 1 by 15 alpha into m naught plus alpha t whole power 3 by 2 minus m naught power 3 by 2. This will be our answer. In this example, we want to calculate the temperature at which the velocity of sound in oxygen will be same as that in hydrogen at 50 degrees Celsius. The velocity is given by under root gamma RT by m. As both are diatomic, oxygen and hydrogen both are diatomic, the gamma will be same. So we can write V is directly proportional to under root T by m. It is given that we want same speed. So we can write temperature of oxygen upon molecular weight of oxygen is equals to temperature of hydrogen upon molecular weight of hydrogen. Temperature of oxygen we want to find. The molecular weight of oxygen is 36 is equals to temperature of hydrogen is 273 plus 50 divided by molecular weight of hydrogen will be 4. So simplify this, we'll get temperature of oxygen as 5168 Kelvin. In this example, a stone is dropped into a well and the impact of sound is heard 5.4 seconds later. If the depth of well is 122.5 meter, then calculate the velocity of sound. Let us understand the situation first. A stone is dropped into a well. The depth of well is 122.5 meter. Now, a stone is dropped, that means its initial velocity is 0. It is dropped at time t is equals to 0 second. Once it is dropped, it will hit the surface of water and the sound of splash will reach to the thrower after t is equals to 5.4 second. So this is the total time of first t1, that is the time taken by stone to reach the well or water, and t2 is the time taken by sound of splash to reach to the listener. So one by one we will find time t1 and t2. Once we find the time t2, then speed of sound will be equal to distance upon time, that is 122.5 divided by time t2. So first we will find the time t1. For that we can use the second equation of motion, s is equals to ut plus half gt square. Here s is 122.5 meter. As it is dropped, the initial velocity will be 0. Plus half, g is 9.8 into t1 square. From this, t1 square will be equal to 122.5 divided by 4.9, that is equals to 25. So t1 will be equal to 5 seconds. 5.4 can be written as t1 plus t2. So 5.4 is equals to 5 plus t2. So t2 is equals to 0.4 second. So now we can find the speed of sound, that is equals to distance 122.5 divided by time 0.4. So the speed of sound will be equal to 306.25 meter per second. In this example, a metal bar with a length of 3 meter has density 3200 kg per meter cube. A longitudinal sound wave takes 2.8 into 10 power minus 4 second to travel from one end to the other end of bar. We want to find the Young's modulus for this bar. The speed of sound through metal bar is given by y by rho, and speed is distance upon time. So under root y by rho is equals to distance traveled will be length 3 meter divided by time 2.8 into 10 power minus 4. So y by rho is equals to 9 divided by 2.8 into 10 power minus 4 whole square. So y will be equal to 9 into 3200 divided by 2.8 into 10 power minus 4 whole square. Simplify this, we will get y is equals to 36.73 into 10 power 10 Pascal approximately. In this example, a man adjusts his watch by the sound of signal from a distant tower. He observes his watch is slow by 3 seconds. Calculate the distance of the tower from the man. If the temperature of air is 25 degrees Celsius, given the velocity of sound at 0 degrees Celsius is 332 meter per second. First of all, we have to find the speed of sound at 25 degrees Celsius. V is directly proportional to root T. So Vt divided by V is equals to under root 273 plus 25 divided by 273. So Vt will be equal to approximately 346.87 meter per second. Now, as his watch is slow by 3 seconds, the time taken by sound to reach from the tower to man will be equal to 3 seconds. So we can write speed is equals to distance upon time. So distance will be equal to speed, that is 346.87 into time 3 seconds. So the distance will be 1040.6 meter. that is approximately 1 kilometer. In this example, two strings of same material are stretched to the same tension. They are having same material, that means density will be same, and they are stretched to the same tension. If the radii are in the ratio of 1:2, so R1 by R2 is 1:2, then respective velocities in them will be in the ratio. We want to find V1 by V2. Velocity in stretched string is given by T by root mu. Mass per unit length T divided by mass m per unit length. So V can be written as under root TL divided by mass can be written as density into volume, and volume is area into length. Here this length will get cancelled out. It is given that material is same, so density will also be same, and they are stretched to the same tension. So we can write V is inversely proportional to root A, and V is inversely proportional to root R square. So V is inversely proportional to radius R. So V1 by V2 will be equal to R2 by R1. That is equal to 2:1. So the ratio of speeds will be 2:1. In this example, a pulse generated at lower end of a hanging rope of uniform density and length capital L. The speed of the pulse when it reaches the midpoint of the rope is, let's say this is rope of length L. We want to find the speed of pulse when it is at midpoint. So this distance will be L by 2. At this point, we can draw the free body diagram of the point. The mass will be half, let's say total mass is m. So at this point, weight will be mg by 2, and that will be equal to tension. So in equilibrium, T can be written as mg by 2. The speed is given by under root T by mu. So V will be equal to under root T is mg by 2, and mu will be mass per unit length. This mass will get cancelled out. So velocity will be under root Lg by 2. Now, what will happen when at a particular point more than one waves are incident? There can be different effects based on the nature of the incidenting waves. This is called the principle of superposition of waves. Simply, it is the combined effect of all the waves incidenting at single point. There can be three different cases. Let us assume two waves. One is y1, that is a1 sine of omega t plus kx, and another is y2 is equals to a2 sine of omega t plus kx plus phi. In both the cases, amplitude is different, a1 and a2. The frequency and the wavelength are same, the direction of propagation is also same, but there is some phase difference between y1 and y2. If these two are incident at a point, then at that point interference is created. That means if the waves differ in phase, the effect that is created is called interference. Let us see the second type. The wave y1 is a1 sine of omega 1t plus kx, and y2 is equals to a2 sine of omega 2t plus kx. In this case, the phase is same, the direction of propagation is also same, it is along negative x-axis, the wavelength is also same, but the frequencies are different. When these two waves are incident at a single point, then the effect that is created is called beats. Now let us see the third case. The wave y1 is a1 sine of omega t plus kx, and y2 is equals to a2 sine of omega t minus kx. In this case, amplitudes are different, but frequency, phase are same, but the direction of propagation is different. y1 is traveling along negative x-axis and y2 is traveling along positive x-axis. If these two waves are incident at a point, the effect that is created is called standing waves. So let us see all the effects one by one. Remember, we are not putting any constraint over the amplitude. Amplitudes can be same or they can be different. But in the case of interference, the phase should be different, but frequency and wavelength should be same, as well as the direction of propagation. In case of beats, only frequencies should be different, the phase and direction of propagation should be same. And in the case of standing waves, only the direction of motion should be different, the frequency and the phase should be same. The first effect, interference. Let us consider two waves. They are given by y1 is equals to a sine of kx minus omega t, and y2 is equals to a sine of kx minus omega t plus phi. If we draw the graph for these two waves on same scale, then y1 will start from origin as the initial phase is 0. So this will be the y1. But y2 will start from some other point because its initial phase is not 0. But the time period for both will be same, and amplitude will also be same. Now let us see the special cases of interference, that is when phase difference is 90 degree and when phase difference is 180 degree. In general, the resultant wave will be given as y1 plus y2, that will be equal to a sine of kx minus omega t plus a sine of kx minus omega t plus phi. We can use the formula of sine a plus sine b is equals to 2 sine of a plus b by 2 cos of a minus b by 2. So using this, we will get y is equals to 2a cos of 5 by 2 into sine of kx minus omega t plus 5 by 2. This represents the wave function and this is the amplitude. So the amplitude of resultant wave will be equal to 2a cos 5 by 2 and the initial phase of the resultant wave will be 5 by 2. If phi is equals to 0, then this y will become 2a sine of kx minus omega t. So the amplitude will become 2a. Let us see this on the graph. This is the y1. If the phase difference is 0, then the second function y2 will be just overlapping on the first function y1. So at all the points, the amplitudes will be added. This is y2 and this is y1. They are just overlapping. So the resultant function will be, if this amplitude is a, then the resultant function will have amplitude 2a. Here the amplitudes are simply added. This kind of interference is called constructive interference. When the phase difference between two waves is 0, the amplitudes are directly added, and this kind of interference is called constructive interference. Let us write down. The amplitudes are directly added, and this type is constructive interference. Now what will happen if the phase difference is 180? So y1 will be a sine of omega t minus kx and y2 will be a sine of omega t minus kx plus pi. If we draw this on the graph, then this is the function of y1. The maximum amplitude is a. The second function y2 is 180 degree out of phase by y1. So it will start from 0 only, but in the opposite direction. So at every point, if we take these 2 points, the amplitude is a and minus a. So net amplitude will be 0. If we take these 2 points, then at this point amplitude is root a and here minus root 2a. Again total amplitude will be 0. So at every point, the amplitudes are directly subtracted. So this kind of interference is called destructive interference. It is not necessary that both the waves have same amplitude. They can have different amplitudes, but if they are 180-degree out of phase, then the interference is destructive interference, and if they are in phase, they have same phase, then the interference will be constructive interference. Let us see some examples based on the superposition of wave and the special case interference. Here two waves are represented by y is equals to a sine of omega t minus kx, and another wave y is equals to a sine of omega t minus kx plus 2 pi by 3. What will be the amplitude of resultant wave? Here they both have same amplitude, frequency is also same, direction of propagation is also same, they are just differing in phase. So the interference will be created as they have same amplitude. The amplitude of resultant wave will be given by 2a cos phi by 2. Here phi is 2 pi by 3. That will be 2a cos of 2 pi by 3 by 2. So y will be equal to 2a cos of pi by 3, that is cos 60 degree. The cos 60 is 1 by 2, so y will be a. The resultant wave will also have same amplitude a. In this question, two waves y1 is equals to 3 sine of 200x minus 150t and y2 is equals to 3 cos of 200x minus 150t are superimposed. We want to find the amplitude of resultant wave. Here y1 is 3 sine of 200x minus 150t and y2 is equals to 3 cos of 200x minus 150t. We can write this y2 as 3 sine of 200x minus 150t plus pi by 2. So the phase difference between y1 and y2 is pi by 2. As they both have same amplitude, the amplitude of resultant will be 2a cos phi by 2. That is 2 into 3 into cos of pi by 2 by 2. That is equals to 6 cos of pi by 4. Cos pi by 4 is 1 by root 2. So amplitude will be 6 by root 2. That will be 3 root 2 meter. In this example, two waves have equations, that is x1 is equals to a sine of omega t plus phi 1 and x2 is equals to a sine of omega t plus phi 2. If the resultant wave frequency and amplitude remain same, then what is the phase difference between them? Here we can see that amplitude are same for both the waves. They both have same frequency. They are just differing in the phase, so interference will be created. It is given that the resultant wave have same frequency and amplitude as that of the individual waves. So the resultant wave x will be x1 plus x2, that is equal to a sine of omega t plus phi 1 plus a sine of omega t plus phi 2. We can use the sine a plus b formula, so that will be sine of omega t plus phi 1 plus phi 2 by 2 into cos of phi 1 minus phi 2 by 2. Now, as given in question, this will be 2. 2a cos of phi 1 minus phi 2 by 2 is equals to a. This a will get cancelled out. They are saying that amplitude will be same as the individual wave. So cos of phi 1 minus phi 2 by 2 is equal to 1 by 2. So we can write phi 1 minus phi 2 by 2 is equals to pi by 3. We want the phase difference. So phi 1 minus phi 2 will be equal to 2 pi by 3. So this will be our answer. In this example, two waves given below are superimposed. What will be the equation of resultant wave? The first wave is given a sine of kx minus omega t plus pi by 6, and the second wave is a sine of kx minus omega t minus pi by 6. Here the amplitude is same, direction of propagation is also same, and frequency is also same. They are differing in phase, so interference will be created. So we can write y is equals to y1 plus y2. That will be a sine of kx minus omega t plus pi by 6 plus a sine of kx minus omega t minus pi by 6. We can use the formula sine a plus sine b is equals to 2 sine a plus b by 2 into cos of a minus b by 2. So y will be equal to 2a sine of a plus b. In that case, this 2 will get cancelled out. So that will give us kx minus omega t into cos of a minus b. So this will get cancelled out. Pi by 6 minus plus pi by 6 divided by 2. So y will be equal to 2a sine of kx minus omega t into cos of, this will be pi by 6. But cos pi by 6 is root 3 by 2. So y will be equal to 2 root 3 by 2a sine of kx minus omega t. So the resultant wave y will be equal to root 3a sine of kx minus omega t. So this will be the resultant wave.